Hey guys, in this video, we will look into the most frequently asked questions on computer networking. My name is Anand Guru and I am here to help you clear your next cybersecurity job interview. To start with, we will have some questions on network devices like what is a hub? Hub is a layer 1 device that connects multiple computers. Hub is usually termed as dumb device because it broadcasts all the data to every port. What is a switch? Switch is a layer 2 device that connects two or more computers. Switch can decide which computer is the message intended for and send the message directly to the right computer. What is a router? Router is a layer 3 device that connects two or more networks. Routers can calculate the best route for sending data from one point to another using routing protocols. What are the ranges of private IP address? Private IP addresses are also called as non-routable IP addresses, and the ranges are 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255, 172.16.0.0 to 172.31.255.255, 192.168.0.0 to 192.168.255.255. The same IP address ranges can also be represented in the CIDR format as follows. What is NAT? NAT stands for Network Address Translation. It is the process of converting one IP address to another, usually a private IP address to public IP address and vice versa. What is PAT? PAT stands for Port Address Translation. PAT permits multiple devices on a LAN to be mapped to a single public IP address. The goal of PAT is to conserve public IP addresses. For example, if a traffic to 100.20.30.40 is coming on port number 22, we can NAT it to the IP address of 10.10.5.6. If a traffic to the same IP address, that is 100.20.30.40, is coming on port number 443, we can NAT it to 10.10.5.7. If you notice, the public IP addresses are the same. However, depending on the port number the traffic is coming from, we are NATing the traffic to two different internal IP addresses. There will be questions on commonly used port numbers. Here are few of the commonly used port numbers. There might be questions on network basic command line tools like how do you find the IP address of a machine? The command is ipconfig. How to find the MAC address of a machine? The command is ipconfig/all. What is MAC address listed as in Windows machine? It appears as physical address. How do you find if DHCP is enabled on a system? By using the command ipconfig/all. How do you find the default gateway on the system? The command is ipconfig/all. How do you find DNS servers on a system? Again, the command is ipconfig/all. How do you check if a destination machine is up and running or reachable? The command is ping. How to check if a port is open on the destination server? We can do so by using the command telnet. How to get the host name of a machine? The command is hostname. How do you check open port on a machine? By using the command netstat-an. Explain the difference between TCP and UDP. TCP stands for Transmission Control Protocol. UDP stands for User Datagram Protocol. TCP is connection oriented, UDP is connectionless. We have acknowledgements for each packet successfully transmitted in TCP. In UDP, there are no acknowledgements. If a packet failed to get transmitted, the packets are retransmitted in TCP. There is no retransmission in UDP. We have guaranteed delivery in TCP, whereas UDP does best effort delivery. TCP is considered as reliable stack of protocol, whereas UDP is unreliable. TCP is comparatively slower than UDP. Few of the protocols that use TCP stack are HTTP, HTTPS, SMTP, and SSH. Whereas UDP is widely used by protocols that run streaming media like streaming videos, VoIP calls, online games, etc. Explain three-way handshake. A three-way handshake is a method used in TCP/IP network to create a connection between two hosts. It is a three-step process that requires both the client and the server to exchange SYN and acknowledgement packets before actual data communication begins. The process is as follows. A client node sends a SYN data packet to a server it wants to communicate to. The objective of this packet is to ask if the server is open for new connection. If the server is willing to communicate to the client, it responds with an ACK packet. It also expresses its intention of talking back to the client with its SYN packet. Together, it is SYN ACK. The client node responds with an ACK for the server's SYN. Upon completion of this process, the connection is created and the host and server can communicate. Explain packet structure. A packet has three main sections: IP header, TCP header, and the payload. The important fields in the packet are source IP address, destination IP address, source port, destination port, TCP flags, and the date. Explain TCP flags. In TCP connections, flags are used to indicate a particular state of connection. There are 6 flags in a TCP header. They are SYN, ACK, FIN, reset, push, and urgent. The functions of each flag is shown on the screen. Explain OSI reference model. OSI reference model is best explained with the following attributes like the layer number, name of the layer, function of each layer, devices that work at each layer, protocols that run on that layer, and the form of data, that is protocol data unit. Let's start with layer 1, which is a physical layer. It is responsible for the actual physical connection between the devices. The devices include hub, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, cables, etc. The protocols are 802.11. The PDU is in the form of bits here. Layer 2 is data link layer. The data link layer is responsible for the node-to-node delivery of the messages. It does framing, error control, and flow control. Data link layer is divided into 2 sublayers: logical link layer, logical link control, media access control. The devices that work at layer 2 are switch. The protocol is ARP. The PDU is in the form of frames. Next is layer 3 called a network layer, which is responsible for the transmission of data from one host to the other located in different network. It takes care of packet routing, that is selection of the shortest path to transmit the packet from the number of routes available. The devices that work at layer 3 are routers, firewall, and IPS. Protocols include RIP, OSPF. The PDU is in the form of packets. Layer 4 is transport layer. It provides reliable message delivery from one process to the other, ensures that the messages are transmitted in the order in which they are sent, and also there is no duplication of data. It is also responsible for error control and flow control. The protocols that work here are the most of the TCP UDP stack, and the PDU is in the form of segments. Layer 5 is a session layer which is responsible for initiating, maintaining, and termination of sessions. Protocols include NetBIOS, NFS, and RPC. The PDU is in the form of data. Layer 6 is the presentation layer, a layer that is responsible for manipulating of the data as per the required format to be transmitted over the network. Things like encoding, decoding, encryption, decryption, compression and decompression happen at presentation layer. Protocols include JPEG, MPEG, TLS and SSL. The PDU is in the form of data. Layer 7 is application layer. It acts as an interface between the user and the computer. Application produce the data which has to be transferred over the network. Protocols include HTTP, SMTP. The PDU is in the form of data. There will be a question to explain the OSI reference model with a practical example. So let's discuss how email flows between a sender and a recipient using OSI reference model. Sender uses an application like Outlook to compose and send the email. This is done at the application layer. The mail is encoded, encrypted, and compressed by the presentation layer. The sending email server initiates the connection with the receiving server at the session layer. The entire email flow is done error-free, receiving all the acknowledgements at the transport layer. Each packet will be routed from sender mail server to the recipient mail server by the network layer. Node-to-node transmission happens using next hop's MAC address at the data link layer. All the data is transmitted as bits through cables or wireless signals at the physical layer. Once on the recipient side, the data moves from cable to user's machine, where the presentation layer will take care of decoding, decrypting, and decompressing the data. Finally, the Outlook application will display the message to the recipient. Explain TCP IP model. OSI is more of a theoretical model, whereas TCP IP model is practical. The functions remain the same, but few of the layers get merged in TCP IP model. The differences in layers are highlighted below. Application, presentation, and session layer are merged to become application in TCP IP model. Transport and network layers remain as it is, whereas data link layer and physical layer are merged into network interface layer. What is DNS and how does it work? DNS stands for Domain Name System. It is a service that helps in translating domain names to IP addresses and vice versa. And how does DNS work? When a computer needs to reach to a domain, for example, facebook.com, it sends a request to a server called DNS resolver. If the mapping is found for the domain in the DNS cache, the server returns the IP address. If not, the resolver reaches out to root server. Root server hold the index of all the top level domains like .com, .org, .net, .gov. There are 13 root servers globally. Once the resolver gets the TLD, it does a query to the TLD which gives the authoritative name server that holds the mapping for the requested domain name. Finally, the DNS resolver makes a request to the authoritative name server for the specific record. The address is then returned to the client that made the original request. The client now makes an official request to the website using the IP address. There are certain follow-up questions on DNS like, does DNS use TCP or UDP? DNS use both TCP and UDP. UDP version is used by DNS queries and TCP is used for zone transfers. Explain different DNS record types. Here are the frequently used DNS record types. It's good to remember at least a couple of them. What is DHCP and how it works? DHCP stands for Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. DHCP server automatically assigns an IP address and other information to each host on the network so they can communicate with other endpoints. How does DHCP work? DHCP works on a process called as DORA. When a computer that is configured to get the IP address automatically is powered on, it sends DHCP request message to all hosts. After the DHCP server receives discover message, it suggests the IP addressing offering to the client host by unicast. This offer message contains IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, DNS, and the lease period. Now, after the client receives the offer, it requests the information officially, sending a DHCP request message to the server. Finally, the server sends acknowledgement message confirming the DHCP lease to the client. Now client is allowed to use the new IP settings. Few follow-up questions on DHCP include: what will be the IP address of the client machine when it sends discover message? The source IP address will be 0.0.0.0. How does client know the IP address of a DHCP server to send a discover message? The client would not be knowing the DHCP address, hence it broadcasts the discover message. That is, the destination IP address will be 255.255.255.255. What happens if no DHCP server is available on the network? The client gets an IP in the range of APIPA. The range of APIPA is between 169.254.0.0 to 169.254.255.255. What happens when the DHCP server runs out of IP addresses? When you start running out of addresses, your subnet is said to be oversubscribed. Then the DHCP server refuses to assign an IP address until a device in the network releases an IP address and makes it available again, or the lease time expires. Explain ARP. ARP stands for Address Resolution Protocol. It helps to resolve an IP address to physical address. How does ARP work? When a source device wants to communicate with another device, it checks its ARP cache to find it already has resolved MAC address of the destination device. If it is there, it will use the MAC address for communication. If not, the source broadcasts the ARP request message to the local network. The message is received by each device on the LAN. However, when the destination device receives the ARP request, it will send the ARP reply message to the source as an unicast. The source machine will update its ARP cache. What are proxy servers and how do they protect computer networks? Proxy servers processes the request on behalf of other machines. The IP address is converted by NAT process. Proxy servers primarily prevent external users from identifying the IP addresses of an internal network. Without knowledge of the correct IP address, even the physical location of the network cannot be identified. Proxy servers can make a network virtually invisible to external users. When you use proxy, is the DNS query made by the client or the proxy server? It depends on the type of the proxy being used. If it is a simple IP proxy, then the client will do the DNS query, resolve the destination domain name, and send the request to proxy. If the proxy is HTTP proxy, the client directly sends the request to proxy. Proxy request for DNS resolution and forward the traffic. Few random questions on networking might include: can you connect two computers directly? Yes, with the help of a crossover cable. If I give you a laptop, explain how will you connect to internet. Assuming the OS is already installed, I will look to assign the IP address details like IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, and DNS server. I will get these details from the network engineer who has designed the network. Alternately, if there is a DHCP server in the network, I'll configure the new laptop to automatically get the IP details. Then I ping any public IP address like 8.8.8.8 to confirm if the laptop is able to reach the internet. Also ping an URL like google.com to check if DNS is working fine. ICMP works on which layer? ICMP works on layer 3. What port does ping use? Ping uses ICMP, which is not a TCP or a UDP protocol. That's why ICMP has no ports. What happens when you type in a URL like google.com in your browser and press enter? When you type in google.com into the address bar of the browser, the client needs to find the IP address of the URL, in this case google.com. Browser checks for its cache to see if it has the IP address for the entire domain. If there is no IP mapping, it will check in the OS cache. If the OS cache does not have the IP address, the client initiates a DNS request to the configured DNS server. Once the client has the IP address of the URL, the browser initiates a TCP connection with the server with the help of three-way handshake. The browser sends an HTTP request to the web server. The server handles the request and sends back a response. The browser displays the HTML content. Let us look into a few firewall related questions. Like, what is firewall? Firewall is a network security system that monitors and controls incoming and outgoing traffic based on predetermined security rules, called as ACLs. Traditional firewalls work at layer 3 and layer 4. When we can write ACLs in router, why do we need a firewall? The primary function of a router is to route the traffic. If we add packet filtering functions onto the router, it will slow down the network. Hence, it is a good practice to separate filtering and routing capabilities. What is DMZ? DMZ stands for Demilitarized Zone. It is a network segment used to host public-facing servers. The DMZ isolates the public-facing servers from internal servers. So, if the servers in DMZ are compromised, the attack doesn't spread to internal network. What is implicit deny? By default, if the traffic is not explicitly allowed within an access list, the firewalls are configured to drop the connection. This is implicit deny. What is the difference between firewall deny and a drop? When a firewall is set to deny a connection, it blocks the connection and sends a reset packet to the requester. When a firewall is set to drop a connection, it just drops the request without giving any message to the requester. It is a good practice to deny outbound traffic and drop inbound traffic, so the attacker in the internet will not know the presence of the firewall. What is stateful inspection? A stateful firewall maintains a table of active connections it has allowed in a state table. Further packets associated with the session are permitted to pass through the firewall. What is VPN? VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. It extends a private network across a public network. It enables users to send and receive data over public network as if they were connected directly to the private network. There are two types of VPN: site-to-site VPN, which is used to connect to two different office locations; remote VPN, which is used by the users to connect to the corporate networks. Next, we will see a few IPS/IDS related questions. What is IDS? An intrusion detection system is a network security solution that detects the malicious traffic based on the signatures. IDS system compare the current network activity to a known threat database to detect several kinds of behaviors like security policy violation, malwares, and port scanners. What is the difference between IPS and IDS? IDS scans the traffic and detects malicious traffic and report it to the admin based on the network signatures. IPS scans the traffic, detects the malicious activity based on the network signature, and it also has the capabilities to block the malicious traffic. Explain IDS signature syntax. An IDS signature looks something like this. It has two sections called rule header and rule option. The rule header contains information like rule action, the protocol, source IP address and the source port number, the direction, destination IP address and destination port number. The rule options contain message, which is the alert that has to be triggered. SID stands for signature ID. Revision stands for what version of this rule is and if it is ever modified. And there are other various options within the rule options that will help in detecting the malicious activities. Difference between IPS and firewall. A firewall inspects TCP/IP header and it works on access control list. Whereas IPS does deep packet inspection, that is, checks both TCP header and the payload using network signatures. Where do you place the IPS? An IPS is usually placed after the firewall. Firewall does the heavy lifting of blocking all the unwanted traffic based on TCP/IP header. And of the traffic that is allowed, IPS will do deep packet inspection. Because of this, IPS needs more processing power than a firewall. If IPS is placed first, it will unnecessarily do deep packet inspection on all the traffic, while a good amount of traffic could have been easily blocked just by inspecting TCP/IP header with a packet filtering device like firewall. There might be a few questions on Linux commands. Please take a look at most commonly used Linux commands. Thank you. Let's all meet in the next session.